Welcome to the Tara Talk Podcast, a place for honest and open conversations to support you in living your best life from the inside out. Join me on this journey of self-discovery as we explore what it means to reach next level badassery and cut through the BS. So tune in, stay a while, and I promise I'll be right here alongside you as we figure this shit out together. I love nothing more than working with people one-on-one to create a custom workout plan based on their specific goals, their body type, and what they have access to. It's honestly one of my favorite things to do. I've been a personal trainer for 12 years, and programming is one of my absolute favorite things to do, other than obviously seeing sick PRs in the gym from my clients. It's one of my favorite. I just love programming. I think there's so much creativity with it, and you can have so much fun with your workout plan. But I know that not everyone has the ability to work with someone like me or work with a coach. And so that's why today, in this probably two-part series, I am going to teach you how to build your very own workout plan. So grab a pen and paper, take mental notes, revisit this episode, save it, share it with some friends, and I am going to teach you how to write this custom plan. It's going to be beefy. And like I said, this will probably be a two-part series. This is for people that are a little bit more beginner. Maybe they've done some group fitness classes in the past. Maybe they want to get into their own strength journey and they just don't know where to start. So before I even get into your steps today, I want you to get clear at where you are physically and mentally in your body. You can't get to where you're going without knowing where you are to begin with. Your plan should be developed around you, your age, your goals, your injury, your work life, your available equipment, and of course, what are the things that you enjoy? And since there's so many factors, it can feel overwhelming and complicated. But we're going to dive into it today. And of course, just a shameless plug, if you want someone to do all of that for you, I am your gal, and I work with a lot of clients one-on-one for their specific custom goals and what they're looking to accomplish. But okay. Let's get into it today. Now, step number one, before we do anything else, what is your starting point? Take inventory on what you're doing, what feels good, and maybe what doesn't feel good, and be honest with yourself. I've talked with so many clients on their consult calls. They'll be like, yeah, I work out 5 times a week. And I was like, what is the average amount of times you work out per week over the last 3 months? And they'll say, well, it's closer to 1 or 2 times. So you don't actually work out 5 times a week, which is okay. That is okay. You just need to be realistic on how you want to move forward. So I can't go from going 1 or 2 times a week to going 5, 6, 7 times a week. That's just unattainable, unrealistic, and not super sustainable for you. So be honest with yourself. And then what feels good? What doesn't feel good? What do you enjoy? Where are you at right now in your wellness journey? Do you have any past injuries? Do you have stuff that you want to work through? This is really important in writing your plan, because if you know that lunges don't feel great, how can we work around that? How can we put them in your plan to make them feel better? And then what thoughts do you have around your body, your fitness, and your capabilities? If you're telling yourself, I'm weak, I can't even do a push-up, that's important to note and to work out. Also, what thoughts do you have around your body, your fitness, and your capabilities? Now, if you're going into this workout plan saying, I can't do a push-up, well, that's kind of important, right? If you want to be able to do a push-up, you can't just tell yourself you can't over and over again. Check out episode 32, all on the thought ladder. That will help you get into the right mindset with your workout plan. And then what goals? What goals do you have with your plan? This is so important. And the best way to write out goals is to make them SMART goals. I do have a smartest goals episode as well. I'll link it in the show notes. And what are some of your SMART goals that you have? Are you trying to lose weight? Well, how much? What's the timeline? What will you do to get there? Are you trying to gain muscle? Same thing. How much? What does it look like? What are the timelines? If you have such a blanket statement of, I want to lose weight, there's no realistic goals or attainable actions to get to that place. And so having some sort of SMART goal will get you to that place. Want to run a 5K? Cool, let's sign up for it. When is it? How will you get there? What can we work around that 5K in order to be able to get to that place to actually run it? And then, of course, how much time do you have to exercise per week? Again, be realistic with yourself. Stop and look at your calendar right now. Look at your week ahead. Monday, if you're looking at a Monday through Sunday week, realistically, how much time do you have in your week? And now 2-3 times a week is plenty. Give yourself 30 to 60 minutes. And I'm asking what works best for you. And yes, you absolutely can see progress a couple times a week if it's programmed well. But again, we want to make sure that it really fits in your schedule sustainably. This isn't just a workout plan that you're going to do for a couple weeks. This is something that you want to do long term. Keep that in mind. And then with any goal mentioned, losing weight, gaining muscle, strength training is the most efficient and effective way to do it. So even if you are someone that does want to lose weight, that's fine. Strength training is a huge, very effective way to get there. Still in step 1, where do you want to work out? What do you have access to? Remember, whatever is going to work best for you. So many times clients come to me and they'll be like, is it okay if I work out at home? And I say, why wouldn't it be okay? Why is that not okay? Who made that not okay? It has to work around you and your schedule and your life. Something that works for me probably will not work for you. That's just how it goes. I don't have any kids. I work from home. I work for myself. And also, this is my livelihood. So again, I'm going to drill this into you. Make your plan work for you. Not for me, not for the 100 other fitness influencers that have a million pieces of equipment and have all the time in the world. It's your time, so utilize it well. Okay, so again, just in that step 1, I know we went through a lot just in that step 1, but being realistic and honest with yourself. Where are you starting? Why are you doing it? AKA, what are the goals that you have? And then how much time and where are you going to work out? Those are really, really important questions to ask yourself and answer before we even move into the actual plan. So if you need to stop, write those things down, take mental notes so you can come back to them. This is so important. This is before we do anything at all. Okay, take a breath. Here we go. Step 2, what exercises should you do? Okay, I know this is going to sound so silly, but I'm sure you've heard of the term KISS, Kiss, keep it simple, stupid. I'm not calling you stupid. That's just how it is. That saying has been around for forever. But honestly, the simpler the exercises, the better, okay? Especially if you are new, especially if you're doing 2 times a week, because the best plan that you can do is one that you stick with. Most people are looking at these super complicated exercises and it's just really hard to stick with, or there's a ton of variations because they're getting bored. Honestly, 4 or 5 exercises in a plan is so great to get super strong, super solid, and comfortable with. Okay, so I'm going to make it really, really simple for you. I am going to give you 5 exercises, 5 pieces of criteria. Okay. So any workout that you do for full body specifically, and we're going to talk a little bit about the splits later, but I personally love full body workouts, especially for people that are doing 2 or 3 times a week. And I'll tell you again a little bit why later. But I want you to think of these 5 criteria for these exercises. Number 1, first exercise, front of legs. For example, your quads. Number 2, back of legs, for example, calves, hamstrings, glutes. Third one, push muscles, for example, chest, shoulders. Number 4, pull muscles, for example, back, biceps. And number 5, just because a lot of people love core, I like to throw in some sort of core exercise here. And this can be any type of core, okay? I want you to remember that every workout that you plan, every program that you get into should have something that you like, something you want to get better at, and something you know that you need but maybe don't like. When you do compound lifts, compound movements, you get so many muscles and joints working at the same time. And as a reminder from our Compound in Isolation podcast, it's episode 25. I'll throw it in the show notes as well. Compound lifts are multi-muscle, multi-joint exercises. For example, what we talked about earlier, our squats, our deadlifts, our push-ups. Isolation exercises are typically one muscle and one joint. For example, a bicep curl or a hamstring curl. Now, compound exercises have been found to result in improved aerobic endurance, muscular fitness, and flexibility, since you're recruiting all of these muscles at the same time. So with those 5 pieces of criteria, here are some example exercises. Again, these are just examples. And I'm sure as I go through these, I want you to just stop and see if you can add more to the list yourself. As you get more advanced with your training, I would maybe suggest some isolation exercises. But honestly, again, with this full body, 2 to 3 times a week, a little bit more beginner to intermediate, compound exercises are the most bang for your buck, especially if you have limited time, live a really busy life, and have those couple times a week that you can get in that 30 to 60 minute time frame. So with those 5 pieces of criteria for our exercises, what are some exercises for front of legs? Squats, lunges, let's say you like box jumps, leg extensions. Add some more here. Number 2, back of legs. So again, glutes, hamstrings, calves. We could hit deadlifts, hip thrusts, glute bridge, good morning, Bulgarian split squats. Add yours in here. Number 3, push. We talked about push-ups already. What about an overhead press? Shoulder press, Arnold's press, incline press, bench press, push-ups, dips. Okay, now let's think about pull exercises. So back, biceps. We could do a chin-up or a pull-up or some sort of barbell row or seated row or lat pullover. And then number 5 is core. Now, core is your whole trunk. So it's not just the 6-pack that you might see on some people. It's also your obliques. It's your lower back really, and it's your glutes. So think of all different types of core movements here. Some of my favorites are actually carries. So you're holding a kettlebell, at your chest. We're farmers carrying, we're overhead carrying. A few of my other favorites are hanging movements because that really works your grip strength while you're getting in. Same with the carries as well. So hanging knee tucks, hanging leg raises. And then if you like more ground-based core, we can do some dead bugs. We can do some bird dogs. We can do some ab pendulum. So many exercises there as well. And then again, add in some of your favorites after this. What are some that I haven't said? Okay. So now if I were to take those 5 pieces of criteria, let's build a sample effective workout with those 5 pieces of criteria. So number 1 was our front of legs. I love a goblet squat. Goblet squats. That's our first exercise. And we're going to talk about sets and reps in a second, but we're going to do 3 sets of 10 reps. Number 2, dumbbell, barbell, XYZ, deadlifts. Maybe we're doing an RDL, a Romanian deadlift. Maybe we're doing conventional deadlifts. Maybe we're doing kettlebell deadlift. So with our deadlifts, we're going to do 3 sets of 8. Number 3 is our push movement. Let's throw in a push-up. Everybody loves a good push-up. We're going to do 3 sets of 15. Number 4 is our pull movement. I love a dumbbell row or a barbell row. So we're going to do 3 sets of 8. And then finally, our core exercise, a V-up, a tuck-in, something like that, 2 sets of 10. Now, that is our workout. Boom, we did it. We just created our own first workout together. And with this being said, you actually can do this same workout 2 to 3 times a week, this workout I just said, with a rest day in between for several weeks and see some really awesome results. Yes, literally that workout that we just wrote together twice a week for 4 to 6 weeks, you will see results. You make sure to write your weights down, film yourself so you can see your progress over time. So if you were to stop the episode right now and just did that workout twice a week for the next 4 to 6 weeks, you can come back to me and be like, oh, she was actually right. You do not need all the fancy shit. I promise. You can get so good at the basics. Strength training, honestly, is just doing the same exercises over and over again until you die. Like LOL, but seriously, Seriously, I've been working out for 20 plus years and I'm still doing squats. I'm still doing deadlifts. I'm still doing push-ups. I'm still doing pull-ups. Once you get really good at those movements, those base compound badass moves, you can add in variety, but really you can use the same format. But let's just say you were like, Tara, that sounds so boring. I don't want to do the same workout twice in a week and then just repeat it over and over. Okay, great. Let's create a sample workout number 2 with the same format, 5 movements, but pick different movement patterns. Okay, here we go. First one, front of legs. Let's do some lunges. We're going to do 3 sets of 10 reps. We can make them forward lunges or reverse lunges. We can also make them a little bit more quad dominant or a little bit more glute dominant. Number 2, back of legs. Let's hit a hip thrust. Us gals love to work the glutes. I love a dude that hip thrusts a lot as well. We're going to do 3 sets of 8, push movement. This time we're going to pick up some weights and do some dumbbell bench press, 3 sets of 12. And then we're going to do a lat pullover, dumbbell lat pullover for 3 sets of 8. You can also do lat pull down if you have access to machine. And then our 5th movement for our core is going to be a hanging knee tuck for 2 sets of 10. Look at that. We already have 2 workouts, 2 different workouts that you can hit up like on a Monday and Thursday and repeat for the next 4, 6, 8 weeks in a row. You're going to see progress. I promise you're going to see progress. Remember, basics, basics, basics. But let's talk about core really, really fast, okay? People ask me all the time for more core. Can we throw some more ab exercises in here? Ab exercises. I used to be that person. Trust me, I was that person. But you really do not need it. You really don't need it. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Every compound lift uses your core a ton if you're doing it correctly. And honestly, my absolute favorite core exercise, remember we talked about those carries, is a goblet squat. You've got a heavy weight in front of you. Of course, we're using our quads, but like there is so much core stability, trunk stability with that weight in front of you. Oh, I love it. But because we talked about your workout having something you like, something you want to get better at, and something you know you need but don't want to do, core is usually what people really enjoy. They think 10-minute ab exercise, we need to have that in our workout plan. So that's why I typically do add core when people ask. And that's why it can be a part of your workout plan.
Hey talkers, are you on a journey to feel amazing in your own skin without any pressure or judgment? Well, let me help you fuel up for the ride. Enter Legion Athletics, your new fitness sidekick. These guys aren't just your average supplement company. They're like the supportive coach, Tara, who always has your back, no matter what. Whether you're aiming to feel stronger, more energized, or just a little more badass every day, Legion's got your back. And your biceps, and your abs, and your glutes. Well, you get the picture. Their products, well, let me tell you, they're like a treasure trove of goodness, meticulously crafted to nourish your body and enhance your performance without any unnecessary fillers or fluff. Plus, they taste so good, you'll actually look forward to chugging down your protein shake. And hey, if you're into science, you'll appreciate that Legion's formulas are backed by real research. There's no bro science here, just pure, sweet, sweet gains. So what are you waiting for? Embrace the journey to becoming the best version of yourself with Legion Athletics by your side. Head over to legionathletics.com now and use your code TARATALK for 20% off your first order and double loyalty cashback on every order after. That's TARATALK, TARATALK, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Okay, so we've got our sample workouts. We already have 2. Look at that. We're already set. Now we're going to get a little bit deeper on the sets and reps, but first I want to talk about moving on every plane. Now, a lot of us move forward and back a lot, right? A lunge, a squat, a deadlift, a push-up. All of the movements that we kind of talked about here are on the sagittal plane. But when we move on a day-to-day basis, we're moving on all different planes. So we're moving forward to back, which is sagittal. We're moving on the frontal plane, which is side to side. That's cutting the body in front and back halves. And then we're also moving in the transverse plane, which cuts the body top and bottom halves. And those are for twisting movements. So when we think about our exercises, we want to make sure there's some sort of component of moving on every plane. With those 2 sample workouts, we're not doing a ton of that. However, since this is kind of still a new kind of journey for us, we can add it in our warm-ups, our mobility, and potentially even our cool downs. Okay? So we can move laterally side to side in our warm-up with some lateral lunges. We can add in some twists or rotational movements in our warm-up or cool down as well. But keep that in mind for that sample workout. So for example, if we wanted to do that for a third workout, we could do that same lunge or maybe a step up, but add a twist at the top of your step up. So it's more of a rotational step up, or I could twist my body into the kettlebell as I'm standing up. For the back of legs, we can make this a single leg deadlift. Maybe I'm rotating into that front leg. For our pull movement, maybe I'm doing a rotational row. For my ab exercise, maybe I'm moving side to side. Maybe it's a plank walk side to side or a lateral bear crawl. So always know that there's definitely ways that we can add in some of those planes of movement, but as long as we're having it in the warm-up, that is super, super valuable and beneficial. Okay, step 3. How many sets and reps should I do? Okay, a set is a series of repetitions that you complete without stopping. Your reps or repetition is the number of times you will complete the exercises in the set. So if right now you did 20 bodyweight squats, you completed 1 set of 20 repetitions. In simplest terms, you want to do between 2 and 5 sets of 4 and 15 reps, and it depends on your goals. Some general rules on repetition you can follow as you're starting to build your workout plan. If you are looking, this is so general, but I want you to just keep this in mind. If you are looking to burn fat while building muscle, keep your number in the 8 to 15 rep range. If you can do more than 15 reps without much of a challenge, consider increasing the weight or the difficulty of the movement. This is absolutely true for lunges, bodyweight squats, push-ups, pull-ups, etc. If you want to build more strength, you would keep your repetitions in the 5 to 10 rep range. And as you get comfortable with the movements, you can move into the lower rep ranges. But most of the time, beginners starting with slightly higher reps gives you more time to practice the movement correctly. But there are some general rules, and I'm putting those in quotes, to determine how many reps you should target based on your specific goals, okay? So with those generalized, more beginner style, there are some other generally accepted quote unquote rules on how to determine on how many reps you should target per set based on your goals. Reps in the 1 to 5 range build dense muscle and strength. This is called myofibular hypertrophy. Reps in the 6 to 12 rep range build somewhat equal muscle strength and muscle size. And this is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And then reps in the 12 plus range build muscular endurance. So don't think of those as hard and fast rules. A 2015 study called into question what's the best rep strategy for building muscle or size. It appears that resistance with sets of 3 to 5 stimulates greater improvement in some measures of strength and hypertrophy in resistance training men during a short-term period compared to sets of 8 to 10. Other recent studies have found that people build a similar amount of muscle with anywhere between 5 and 30 reps as long as they work close to failure. And so what does that mean? Do not freak yourself out by worrying about if you should do 3 or 4 sets or 8 or 10 reps. My advice is to always start with a little bit lighter weights and more reps as you learn the movement pattern, and then decide if you want to stay at higher reps or lower weight, vice versa. But you do you, because ultimately this has to be sustainable and something that you enjoy. The only thing you need to worry about in this workout plan is that you are getting stronger, and that can be more reps. As we talked about in the progressive overload episode, there are so many ways to get stronger without just lifting weights, right? We can always add more reps. We can add more tempo, more time under tension. We can change up the variation a little bit. But as you start to think about how you want to progress on your plan, you want to think about that progressive overload. Again, you'll hear more of that on episode 19, but we want to make sure that by the end of the reps, you are challenging yourself that you don't have much more in the tank. I hear you right now, even though I know I'm talking to myself on this podcast. Give me the answer. Because honestly, same. I want the answer when someone says, how much weight should I lift? Like, I want someone to tell me exactly the amount of weight. But there is no hard and fast answer. I know it's like so annoying to hear this, but it really just depends on you and it depends on trial and error. And really, in the whole workout session, you want to be in the 10 to 20 set range with about 5 to 15 reps per set, generally speaking. But you do not need multiple exercises for each body part with a ton of sets, because this usually results in fatigue and risk of injury. So play around with it. Creating a workout plan and seeing progress is all just data. And data is how we progress and make sure that we have the best plan that works best for us. Again, that is sustainable and something that you can really be consistent with. But of course, I can't say any of this without saying how much you eat and what you eat will determine how much muscle you gain. Protein is very important here, and we'll go over this more in future episodes. Okay, we are on step 4, ladies and gents. What should I do about rest periods? How long do I need to rest? So typically when you're writing a workout plan, you'll see your sets and reps, and then you'll have some sort of rest in between. Now, rest is important. I can't tell you how many times clients will be like, yeah, you said rest for 2 minutes, but I just started again at 30 seconds. Like, please do not do that, okay? It allows your body to regenerate energy so you can execute the next set of reps with good form and technique, therefore reducing your risk of an injury. And no, catching your breath is not the only thing I'm talking about here. When people say that like 30 seconds, I'll be like, oh, maybe like your heart rate went down, but that doesn't mean you're ready. General guidelines on how much you need to rest for each set. If we are in the 1 to 3 rep range, lifting heavy for strength and power, you are resting for 3 to 5 minutes between sets. For some people, that may seem like a ton, but if you are going for some super heavy shit, you're hitting a 1 rep max, you're in that 2-3 rep range, you need to give your body that time to recover. If we're lifting for strength, which is typically around 4 to 7 reps, we're resting for 2 to 3 minutes in between sets. If you're in the 8 to 12 rep range for size and strength, you're resting 1 to 2 minutes per set. And then if you're 13 reps and above, which is a little bit more endurance, which is a lot of what you'll see like in HIIT training, you rest long enough to recover to allow you to do the next set. So at least 30, 60 seconds or so. And again, if you are telling me, I don't need enough rest, I don't need the rest that you recommended, you are probably not lifting enough weight anyway. I'm going to say that again. If you are in the camp of not needing the amount of rest that I recommended to you, you are not lifting enough weight. We also talked about this in episode 19. I'll throw it in the show notes, but let's dive a little bit more into that. So here we are, step 5. How much weight should I lift? Again, general terms here. Lift enough so that you can get through the set, but not too much that you have no fuel left in the tank at the end. And here's the give me the answer. You determine this through trial and error. Remember what I told you about writing things down? Do it here. If you are a beginner, err on the side of lighter versus heavier. There's no specific golden rule, but if you have 2 more reps in your set that you can hit, you should be increasing the load, okay? If you finish a set, you're at, your 3 of 10 goblet squats, and the end of your 10, you're like, I could do at least a couple more. Not heavy enough. So how much should you increase the weight? This is generally speaking. I'm speaking generally a lot because it just depends. And also this is a podcast for all, and this is a beginner how to write a workout plan. That's why you hire someone like me to take all the guesswork out of it for you. But I digress. For less trained people, so maybe beginners, it's recommended that for upper body, you increase the load by like 2 or 5 pounds. That's hard to do on a lot of exercises. I totally get. But But then for lower body, it could be between 5 and 10 pounds. For more trained people, more intermediate to advanced, you can do 5 to 10 pounds for upper body and maybe 10 to 15 for lower body, but it totally depends on you, your goals, and what you are trying to accomplish. Okay, so how much weight should you lift? Write the shit down. All data is good data. We are on step 6. How long should my workout be? Okay, I'm in the camp of I love a solid warm-up beforehand, especially as I'm in my 30s and I'm working with clients to help mitigate their injuries and stay really mobile, really flexible, just be more badass in and out of the gym. I say between 45 and 75 minutes. You should be able to get in everything in 30 to 45 minutes based on the sample that we did above. If you are lifting heavy enough, it should be at least 30 minutes. And the question always is, what if I don't have that long? What do I do in case? What should I do in case I can't finish it? Or what should I hit if I can't do the rest of the workout? Compound lifts. So if at the end of the workout, I program you like some bicep curls or, lateral raises or tricep press downs or something like that, or a little like glute banded set, don't do that. Hit the big lifts because you get so much more bang for your buck. Do the best you can with the time that you have. You can also create a workout plan based on the time that you have. So maybe cut down the sets a little bit, maybe cut down the reps a little bit. You can play with it. But the other thing you can do is create some supersets and circuits with the exercises if you are short on time. A superset is performing 2 exercises in a row, typically on different muscle groups. But for example, a superset could look like you're doing a set of squats right into a set of dumbbell presses. Then you're going to wait a minute, 2 minutes, and then you go back through and go squats, dumbbell presses, wait. You can do this with lunges and dumbbell bench. You can do this with deadlifts and push-ups. There's so many different ways to do it, and also cuts the time because you're not resting for as long. You're just putting them together. You can also do it as a tri-set. Sometimes I'll pair 3 exercises together that pair pretty well together, or even a circuit. Okay, step 7, here we go. How many days a week should I train? Remember the 4th of November. It should depend on you and your goals. I personally work out between 4 and 5 times a week, but I am a fitness professional and it is literally my livelihood. You do not need to do that. I'm going to say that again. I work out between 4 and 5 times a week, but I am a fitness professional. It is literally my career and my livelihood. You do not need to do that. You want it to be sustainable. I love working with clients that say they want a 3-day plan. 3 days a week is like my favorite, honestly. I would do it myself too. And sometimes I do that a lot. But honestly, I just like to be in the gym and I film a lot in the gym. So I'm already in the gym and I'm like, let's just do this. And I'm in the gym. Anyways, this will help you stay injury free. It gives your body about 48 hours to recover. So a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday kind of situation. It also helps you get strong. It gets strong as fuck. And when you have it in your calendar and it's something that you're hitting those 3 days of the week, it is so awesome to note and so cool to see that consistency over time. But you can also check in with your body. Like, is this fatiguing you? Are you sore all the time? We don't want that. All data is good data. So writing all these things down is super, super helpful. And if you're like, Tara, great, 3 days is awesome, but like, I want more exercise. Cool. You can still do some exercise out of that plan too. It can be light exercising, walking, maybe some cross training. Try and make sure that you really stick with your recovery days so that you actually are seeing that progress over time and making sure that your body recovers. But yes, I'm not going to say, no, don't work out. I just don't want you doing like a CrossFit workout on your off day. Like that's not recovery. Step 8, we're here. How long should I be on the same plan? Honestly, I like a minimum of 4 weeks, but you can be on the same plan for up to 12 weeks and beyond. It totally depends on your goals. And if you feel like you've hit a plateau, maybe it's time for you to change it up. Okay. So again, at least 4 weeks. If we look at, for example, that 4-week plan that we just already created, we could look at it. Each week would be at an RPE. There is also a podcast on RPE and percentage-based training if you want a little bit more in depth there, but rate of perceived exertion. So maybe week 1 could be RPE 6. Maybe you're about a 60%, which is usually you have about 3 or 4 reps left in the tank because you're just starting out on a new plan. You want to get back into it, but you don't want to lift too heavy. You don't want to be too sore. Maybe week 2 is an RPE 7 or 8, 70 to 80%. Maybe you have a couple more left in the tank. Week 3 could really be that push week of maybe we're at an 8 or 9 here and we're really pushing that weight. Maybe the reps in reserve are closer to like 1 or 2, if any. And then last week on the plan, if we were doing a 4-week plan, it would be RPE 10. We would really want to make sure that we are challenging ourselves, challenging the weights that we're using, and seeing that progress over time. Okay, what if you want a body parts or a muscle split? Now, if we're talking about splits, again, I say I love full bodies. I just feel like you can get so much out of it. And for the general population and for so many beginners out there, you do not need a muscle group split or really an exercise split. If you are looking to build muscle, you might consider focusing on particular muscle groups each workout. So for example, you can train your back and biceps on one day, your chest and triceps on another, and then maybe your legs and shoulders on the third day. You can also even include on the 4th day a cardio and core day. I personally don't love that for beginners, not even for myself or my clients. But again, if you want it or if you want very specific to build that muscle, this can be an option for you. You can also do an exercise split. This is when you're really trying to get some solid strength. You might design a workout that revolves around your major compound lifts. I do this a lot with clients. Maybe we have a deadlift and bench focused month. We'd actually have a plan specific around bench press, and then maybe we have one specifically on deadlifts on the 2nd day, and then the 3rd day could round it all together. And of course, it's a full body workout. But this is how a lot of powerlifters will design it. You can do like a bench, squat, and a deadlift day and mix and mingle. If you wanted to include the overhead press as like a 4th day, you can do it on its own, or you can pair it with some lower body movements. But then your accessory work and accessories isolation are really meant to strengthen that main lift of the day. So for example, if I'm programming a bench and deadlift specific plan, my isolation exercises are going to help build the bench and deadlift as well. Okay, you can also do a push-pull leg split. This is pretty common when you are trying to get into your splits. Again, love a full body. I'm going to say that again, but this is another variation. This is called push-pull legs. It's when you usually do an upper body push, lower body day, and then an upper body pull. So you'd perform the bench press on push day, deadlifts on pull day, and then squats on the leg day. However, I will say it is tough to really make sure that you're maintaining your strength through those workouts, because after you hit some heavy bench press, it's really hard to get into like your triceps or overhead press, push-ups, those accessory moves that kind of make that bench heavier or stronger, because you're pretty fatigued after that bench. If you wanted to program overhead press, again, you can do that on the push day. But again, it can be very heavy, especially for a beginner to an intermediate person. And then if you wanted to do the push-pull leg day, you would choose your accessories basing on the day that you're working. So push would have push exercises, pull would have pull exercises, etc. Okay, so for example, just like a quick example of some of these workouts. So if we were like, let's just say we wanted to do an upper body push day, you could potentially do a barbell bench press, a shoulder press, or some sort of overhead press. Then maybe you do a narrow grip or neutral grip bench. Then we could do a shoulder press, a half kneeling dumbbell shoulder press. We could do some sort of skull crusher, and then maybe some sort of plank in there. But again, it's a lot. It's a lot. I personally don't love this kind of workout split for myself or my clients, because it's just can be so fatiguing for a lot of people. But leg day example could be a front squat into maybe an RDL, a reverse lunge, leg extension, maybe a leg extension with a leg curl kind of superset. You can do some sort of calf exercise, and then again with that core, a hanging movement or a carry or something like that. So just some examples of different ways to split up your week if you'd like. Again, I'm just going to say this a million times. I love full body. So you're not fatiguing yourself so much in one workout. And you can see some serious progress with full body. Okay, step 9, we're putting it all together. We did it. Once you understand different movements and variables that construct a sound program, it's time to begin building, AKA the fun part. So, full disclosure, this is intended to help you build a basic workout template where this is most likely not going to be the best for those like heavily involved in or just advanced. Maybe you're in a specific sport or you're a lot more advanced than this level, but this is really the baseline for how you can scale it and translate it into what works best for you or as you get better at these basic movement patterns. There is obviously so much more that we can get into right now. I'm going to do a whole podcast episode on periodization and how to program based on timelines. But I'd also recommend that you decide what progress markers that are not really related to your body weight or comparing photos. This can be lifting a certain weight, hitting a PR, staying consistent with your schedule, whatever feels like a really nice checkpoint for you. You can go back to those original goals that we created in step 1 for you to make sure that you're seeing that progress over time. And maybe this is a really great time to schedule in your calendar. So every week you're checking in on this progress marker and staying close to your goals. So as you're writing in your workouts for the week, like actually putting it in your calendar, maybe every week on a Sunday, you check in with yourself. How did it go? Did I feel like I'm progressing? Am I staying consistent? And then maybe every 4 to 8 weeks, you're switching up that plan. And lastly, it's always nice to have an accountability partner at some sort, whether this is working with a coach like myself, working with a loved one or a coworker. Whatever you're doing, be proud of your workout program and the effort you're putting into your wellness. This is hard work, you guys. It is really hard. And to make it a part of your lifestyle is so rewarding and it's so valuable, but it is really hard to get there. So thank you so much for listening to this. Again, we can go a lot more in depth. I would love to hear any questions from you into the next maybe part 2 episode into periodization and any more you want to learn about creating a workout plan. You can shoot me a message at the Tara LaFerrara and at the Tara Talk. Share a glimpse of what your workout plan is that you've created based on the criteria that I've mentioned here. And if you're thinking, gosh, like this is awesome, but not for me, I want someone else to do it for you. That's why I hire an accountant to do all of my finances. No worries, I've got you covered. This is exactly what I do for a living. And as I said in the beginning, I freaking love working with clients, but I love programming. It's so much fun. It's so like creative and it's just so much fun for me. So if you want to work with me, I'll put the link in the show notes. I will create a custom program that suits your fitness goals and what you are looking to accomplish. Thank you so much for listening today, and I cannot wait to see what you put out into the world. Let's go lift heavy shit.
Thanks for coming to this Tara Talk. I hope you're taking something away from this episode, and if so, I would love to hear about it. You can connect with me at the Tara Talk and at Tara LaFerrara on Instagram. A few ways you can help support the show and help spread the word. You can share it on Instagram, tag at the Tara Talk and at Tara LaFerrara. Send an episode to a friend, and please leave a review if the show is resonating with you. It takes just a few minutes, and it means so much to help this show grow, and it helps me to continue to bring on badass guests for all of us to learn and grow from. I am so happy you're here and excited to be on this journey with you. Until next time, be a badass with a good ass.